Everybody don't feel that.
Yeah, you sound like me, brother. I don't feel like that until I wake up in the morning.
Did you write that stuff? You better start scribbling.
When I'm sitting on the phone with the people at the DOT, I mean the DMV.
Well, you'll find the mistakes.
Got some questions, cause I'll hand it to you.
It's all Ashley's fault.
Computer's fault.
No, it's Ashley's fault, man.
She's
She's
a
no
movie. She's a movie. Say everything's gonna be her fault.
Yep. Not to blame it on her.
I figured y'all blame Mike Rose since he didn't.
I'll do a air down each one.
What say we blame it on
I said, I
Mike
figured
Rose?
blame it on Mike Rose since he went out. You get at least a year of that,
Yeah.
or at least we do it for somebody. They shouldn't have done
It's
that.
just, it's where they, the formula they calculate over. And I've got to fix it, I've got to fix it, but that's what it is.
They don't spend that all on my blade. Oh, that ain't check.
But the last numbers are right. If you go from the beginning, the one that each step, those numbers match up.
Okay, good.
So you get a check.
You've been packing boxes.
So you got promoted.
I mean, what'd you say?
Volunteer.
Okay. You do everything else. So it's not our draft. So
Okay.
People copy that.
Hey, Mike.
Okay, so, but I just haven't.
We need to do the insurance.
Oh, no, Mike's.
Mike.
Who got called for that?
This is credit.
So we have two different policies here. And then we have transportation. I would just call it insurance. And see Crystal Jackson.
We don't
I
want
thought you, Caleb, come on.
Setting all
and
the
get credit.
She knows who our actual
I mean,
insurance.
you can approve
I
on
do
this.
have this packet,
This can be
but they've been stuck in a box at this point. There, I know what, they're in one
That's
of
probably
three
what it
boxes
is.
in the living room right
We
now.
packed up the state to promote them and stuff, so I could just call, cancel, and then they could pick it up.
Up 13.
Does nobody else want to do it? Put that in the truck, so I've got to go find the
It's a
box.
There you go.
Oh, well, we didn't let the
Why we don't put it up, just watch it.
It's either gonna be on the desk or Todd's put some of it on the top, which I'm not gonna do, so I've got to go when somebody else.
I was like, sure.
They need to get rid of it.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And when they gave me none,
Yeah.
I kept mine for, what, 2 days, Mike?
Over the summer.
And went back to Time Warner.
Website.
Kept
I
mine
went
for
back
a week.
Yeah, I kept mine for 2 days. And I still got the equipment. And I told them, send me a box. Yeah, I know.
Next week, when you at my house, and pass
Yeah, that
the
could be
books.
sensitive where the numbers are.
That has nothing to do with books.
Yeah.
I got books, I got table, I got cover for my
Because
table.
if you
I
look
mean, I
at
haven't bought any supplies.
the start and the finish of each one, they match up. These numbers just didn't.
Ribbon and more ribbon, here's the assortment of ribbon, they don't all look exactly the same, that's what I found wheat at Hobby Lobby,
Okay.
really wheat.
Do you wanna go ahead and pull us what we made? I prepared a few basic. I mean, I've already collected, I need to come over.
All right, we good? I'd like to call to order the June 16th, 2025 Board of Commissioners meeting. First thing on the agenda tonight is the invocation. Commissioner Robinson, do you mind?
Yes, sir. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you, God, for just how you've been so good to us. Father, as we have come here on tonight, we just pause for a moment, God, to just give you honor and praise for all those families that are going through bereavement at this time. We ask right now that you comfort them like only you can. Now, Father, come into this meeting, ask that you lead us and guide us in everything that we say and do. Let everything be done decent and in order. And for that, we're going to give your name glory, honor, and praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, next on the agenda is to adopt the agenda for the June 16th board meeting.
Make the motion that we adopt the agenda.
Okay, we have a motion, I have a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 4-0. Next is comments from the mayor and commissioners. I'd just like to say that we've started on the community building, library, community center, and library, and we haven't poured concrete yet, but the weather hasn't been cooperating very good, but hopefully that will be happening soon, and I think once that happens, the building is going to come in and be immediately set on the concrete and erected. So exciting about that. We will also be demoing the old community building here, hopefully within the next couple of weeks, to make room for that construction. Any of the commissioners like to make any comments?
I would like to say that the Princeton area library supporters worked very hard getting the library cleaned out, packing books, packing up furniture, to make sure that they were on schedule, and they were ahead of schedule. And I know that I think there was several people that came and organizations that came and collected some of the books that you knew you weren't going to be able to bring, and they worked very diligently to be a partner in this and did a great job.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Next, we're going to move to item number 6, which is a public meeting on the budget. And I'd like to open that meeting. It is 7:03 p.m. And I would like to ask if there's anyone from the public that would like to speak.
If we have questions, is now the time to ask them.
On the budget?
Yes.
Yes, you may step forward.
Hi, my name is Amelia.
Hey, ma'am.
I live here in town. I had a question about last year's contingency fund. We had a remainder of $17,000, and I did not see that reflected in this year's budget. I was wondering, does that roll over, or what happens?
So you said there was a contingency in last year's of 17,000? That doesn't sound correct.
The library?
No, just there's in the contingency account.
Oh, for the town?
Yes.
Yeah, that's used to balance the budget for over expenditures, et cetera, or it goes, whatever's left goes to the general fund. It's not
Okay.
just sitting there as free money, so to speak. It keeps the budget balanced for any over expenditures if needed.
So when we have the 17, that gets put into what account?
The general fund.
Could you tell me?
Do I?
Could you tell me where to find it?
It's where as needed.
It's when it's needed.
If
yeah.
there's something $100 short, we
Yeah.
take $100 and put it there.
The
If
general
there's
fund
something-
is anything that starts with a 10, and there's probably 150, 200 items. But that's the general fund. Yeah. So it goes wherever money's short, it covers any negative.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That help?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Okay, with that, I'm going to ask Michael King to come forward and we'll talk about it.
All right, good evening, board. What's that?
I said good evening.
Oh, it's just, okay. Asking a question, I'll read it. Again, pleased to present the 25-26 annual budget for the town of Princeton. The proposed budget, as discussed and presented at previous board meetings on May the 5th, the 19th, June 2nd, and this evening. This budget does include the 2 requested board changes from the June 2nd meeting which are as follows. The employee outfitting of PD was increased to $3,000. Drug enforcement was increased to $1,500. There were no other board recommended changes. The budget includes a balanced general fund of $2,017,972 and a balanced water and sewer fund of $1,580,928. This budget includes a general fund contingency total of $108,084 and a water and sewer total reserve of $136,953. This budget includes a tax rate of 47 cents, which is an 8-cent decrease from fiscal year 24-25. And this budget includes a 12-cent fire tax rate, which is a 2-cent fire tax rate decrease from fiscal year 24-25. When adopting this budget, as presented before you, I do ask for one stipulation, and that is to allow me to adjust the fire tax rate of 12 cents should Johnston County adopt a different rate, so that our contract is not in breach, and we adhere to our agreement with the fire department. As of right now, the Johnston County Commissioners have not set the fire tax rate. Fee schedule is presented before you as well. This was presented at the June 2nd board meeting, and the recommended fiscal year 25-26 fee schedule offers the following recommended changes. Zoning violation increase of $150 to $250, admin fee increase of $40 to $50, new service deposit increase of $150 to $200, and meter tampering fee increase of $150 to $250. There are no other recommended changes in the fee schedule at this time. As a reminder, the fee schedule can be adjusted anytime throughout the fiscal year.
Good question. Where were you at?
I'm reading my notes.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, you have to, right,
You should have
have
it
to
all.
go back to,
Okay.
Yep, sorry about that.
almost go back.
Second page from the last budget page.
All right. The pay classification scale was presented and represents the new salary adjustments as recommended at the June 2nd meeting. This reflects the new starting pay from a minimum to a max pay per pay grade. The pay scale or pay classification does show us starting with a salary grade at 14 to 30. The larger sheet, as you can see, that has the step 1 through 8. There are some numerical numbers in there that I will have to update, but it does not impact the budget at all. It's just where some numbers did not transfer over in the formula process, but the beginning pay and the ending pay for each salary grade is accurate. If the board has no objections, the clerk and myself would kindly ask the board for one motion to adopt all three mentioned items with the fire tax stipulation to allow myself to adjust the fire tax rate to match the Johnston County fire tax rate. This will allow for accurate minute taken and record taken. If the board pleases, we would ask for a motion to adopt the fiscal year 25-26 budget, with allowing the TA to adjust the fire tax rate to match Johnston County, the fiscal year 25-26 fee schedule, and the new pay reclassification scale.
Let's talk about the fire tax. So Johnston County has not adopted their official.
Should this evening sometime.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And so, and you want us to give you the ability to make the adjustment dependent upon what the county does.
Correct. From what I've heard, it's either going to be 11 cents or 12. We set ours at 12. If it goes to 11, it's more contingency. If it stays at 12, nothing changes. That's the only impact it would have on the budget. But they're meeting now, but it has not been discussed.
Is this when's their last meeting to talk about?
Should be tonight.
So you would actually take that cent and roll it into contingency.
If it goes down, it's contingency money. But they don't see it going more than 12 cents. So it wouldn't impact anything, the budget would stay as is. If it goes down, whatever, if it's more, it goes into our contingency. Which would be about 18, 250, 275, something like that.
Because in reality, that would make our tax rate 48 cents.
If it goes down, then our tax rate stays the same.
Well, where's that cent on that?
The fire tax, that's gonna come off the fire tax. That's not gonna impact our tax rate.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You just pay the,
Because the fire
if it
tax,
was 11 cents, you
the
would
fire
pay the
tax,
11
you're
cents,
getting
but we
charged for the assessment for the net and the vehicles.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's on your mind, Commissioner Martin.
But, I mean, if you want to text one of the commissioners in the county roads or something, and see if they've got an update, but as of, when I watched at 7, they had no answer. He may have an idea, but I did text him at like 6, and he said
So,
something funny, but,
I don't think they have yet.
yeah, I don't either.
I keep peeking and listening on it, but right now they're talking about something else.
Yeah.
Go through again and tell me if they go down or up, or what they do.
So right now, we've got our budget at 12 cents. If the
Right.
fire tax goes down, then it's more that goes into our contingency. If it goes up, it's less in our contingency. Right now, we've got $108,000 in our contingency. So if it goes up, then we lose 18,000. If it goes down, we gain 18,000. That's based off the net assessed.
Yeah, well, now that is a, if we're talking about 18,000, that's like a penny and a half, right?
1 penny.
Okay.
Yes, sir. 1 penny, as I stated at the last meeting, 1 penny was about 265. So, but like I said, from reliable sources, it either 11 or 12.
I was just told that it's looking like 11.5, but hasn't come up yet.
Yeah. So that would be about 9,000 to contingency if it's a half. So,
And I have to, well, the first question I have, can we, I mean, if it goes, the full amount and we're 18,000 less, I mean, that's not exactly chunk change.
But whatever the county sets their rate at, our contract, we have to match it. So if they were to come in and say they wanted 30 cents and they approved with the county, we'd have to pay 30 cents.
Well,
That's our agreement with the fire department.
we probably end up in,
Oh, yeah.
good days.
Well, like I said, right now,
Because we would not pay.
yeah, right now, we're set at 12 cents. If it goes down a half a cent, we would gain about $9,000, $9,500.
Well, and the second thing that I'm thinking about is whatever our tax rate is gonna be, whether or not, whether we should let the, TA handle it, but I'm kinda thinking that if it's a difference in tax rate, period, whether it's a fire tax or whether it's the regular tax, that the full board ought to say either yea or nay.
Well, I wouldn't change the tax rate.
Right.
I can't do that. I'm just asking to, whatever the county sets the fire tax
Well,
at, if they change it, if we approve the budget tonight and they change it, then this board's just saying, okay, we agree to what the county agrees to, because that's what our contract says. So you're just saying, all right, the county said 11 and a half, TA King, go ahead and change it to 11 and a half, put the money in contingency.
My question, though, back to that, and I might be stumbling on this, is that extra half cent, does that make our tax rate 47.5? Because it's not in the tax rate.
No, it's not in the tax rate, does not change.
fire tax, not our tax
So
rate.
it would be running off the fire tax, our fire
Fire
tax would
tax
be
on-
down.
You've ran this number so many
We-
times,
and
you're
this
just
does
confusing
not
yourself.
affect the
But it's
town
going
tax
into
rate.
our contingency.
It would go to our contingency, so if it's 11.5, that 108 would jump to about 118.
Okay.
Yep. But that, it
I
would
just
not
wanna make sure
affect,
it
it would not affect the town tax rate at all. Yep, wouldn't affect that at all. So, no responsibility. But again, whatever the county sets their tax.
Well, you got so
rate,
many
it's not-
cents, and if you don't put it into fire tax, isn't it in the town tax?
Mm.
You're gonna collect, you're gonna call it a fire tax.
It is a fire tax.
So you,
But you're putting it in the town's contingency.
that's what I'm thinking, is it's going into the town's contingency, wouldn't it be the town's money at that time? You got two different pots. You got fire tax and you got the towns. Now you're half a cent higher, and that half a cent now comes over and jumps on the town side? See what I'm saying? Would this not become 47.5
I
cents?
see what you're saying now.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying now.
You're saying if they go down a half a cent, we're going up a half a cent?
No, it's, well, in essence, you got so many cents here. You got 47 and 12 right now.
Mhm.
Now you're gonna reposition. Let's just say you take 12 cents of our tax and put over here on the fire tax. Now we're at 35 cents, but it's still going to our contingency. So we're taking from the fire tax and we're putting it into our contingency. And I think you're gonna have to call that half a cent that we had 47.5 cents of
No,
tax.
our tax rate would be 47, instead of the overall being 47 and 12, it'd be 59, it'd be 8.5 cents. Would be our overall rate.
But shouldn't that money stay in the fire tax if it's designated to the fire tax?
Not if they're giving away the half cent.
It would probably not be a bad idea to put it in the contingency for the fire department, because odds are it's going up next year.
Well, they don't have a contingency in fire
That's right.
department. You have to create a line for fire department contingency.
I think he would just have to deduct a half a cent from,
You're just trying to figure out where to put, where to realize
Yeah.
that.
you know, to realize that gain. So you wouldn't take that, what you would do is just reduce the fire tax and just let it be what it is, just the same way as if it went up. And you wouldn't have any contingency. And then that way the fire tax is the fire tax and the town money's the town money.
But that's how it is now.
I know.
Yeah, yeah.
But we're taking fire tax now and throwing it over here in the contingency. And that doesn't, you're mixing the two.
It's cause it's based off of what is
You do
assessed.
nothing. You leave this 47, you leave this 11.
Yeah, but they're both based off of the net assessed, and the fire department gets a percentage of that. We get the rest. The
So
way you're
percentage-
explaining
a
it, you
percentage
want,
of the
the way you're
12%?
explaining it, sounds like you wanna, that the fire department have more.
No,
Uh,
no, I'll take them to whatever the county
Yeah.
contract is, but then we just take that out of our
No, but
budget.
the town and the fire department, they're both assessed on the net assessed for houses, property taxes, vehicles, et cetera.
Okay.
They get a percentage.
So let's say that it's 13 cents. So now we got an extra cent.
Mhm.
They charge a 12 and we got an extra cent.
We're down contingency, we're losing contingency.
Right. So now it would have to come out of our contingency, would it? To
Yeah,
pay.
but we're putting it in there if they go down
I
to
see what
11
you're
and a
saying
half. Yeah. Thank you, yeah. If they go to 11 and a half, we're gaining 9,000 in our contingency.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It is. It does.
You sure?
Well, I can see it both ways.
Okay.
I'm sitting here,
But we don't have a fire contingency, but if you're wanting to create something to where,
I don't.
yeah, yeah,
Just don't make it harder than it
yeah.
is.
But
Our
if they,
contract says we
if
match
they,
the
like I said,
county.
if they keep it at 12 cents, nothing changes. If it comes down, that's just less that we pay them, that we keep. Because we're paying them out of our collections.
I'm back to it. Our tax then goes to 47.5.
I don't understand how it goes.
Well, you got so many cents, and you
Why
gotta
would our
put so,
tax rate go up if theirs is going down though?
because you're still collecting the same number of cents. Any Reynolds? Is it yours? Where are 47, and they're 12,
That's 59 total.
59 total.
So if they go to half, we're at 58.
Now they're 11.5,
And 47.
and they're still 59.
No, where you getting 59? That's the
That would
total.
go down.
That's our tax rate, that don't change. They're gonna change, so this will go to 58.5
So
cents.
then you have to keep,
So your tax rate would drop a half a cent.
but this can't be 11, have to be 12.
No, whatever the county sets it at, that's the county. We don't set that.
Well, you gotta equal 59.
We do a half cent. Well,
You gotta equal 59 no matter what.
No, currently, this is what we've got budgeted. 47 and 12 is 59. If they reduce it to 11 and a half, we can keep our tax rate at 47. Our total tax rate would be 58.5 cents. Is what you would be assessed instead of 59. So
So then you
would
won't have any money going into contingency.
you would lose 9,000. If it stays, you're the same.
Yeah, we gotta make everything equal. Am I thinking wrong?
I think.
I get where you're going.
I get where you're going, but I don't think that's the way it's gonna
Are
calculate.
you wanting, you're saying if they go down, you're wanting to keep the budget balanced at where it's at 108,000?
It doesn't matter to
With the
me. I
contingency.
just don't think we can cross lines. I think our tax rate's gonna now become 47.5.
If you want to keep 108,000 contingency, it will.
Okay, so you're gonna take the 9,000 away, then we're gonna become
If you don't change the
58.5.
tax rate, I mean, I see what you're saying now. If you want to keep the tax, if you want to keep the overall tax rate at 59 cents
Yes.
and the contingency the same, then yes, you will have to go up a half a cent on the 47.
I don't mind the contingency going up, but I'm just thinking that our tax rate now becomes, because we're dumping that into contingency. Contingency, I believe that becomes 47.5, because you gotta account for that half cent. But I think we're saying the same thing.
Okay, so to kind of clear it up, 47 and 12 is current at 59.
Mhm.
If they reduce it, you want to increase our taxes a nickel to 47 and a half,
Not really, not really.
but you want to stay at the same 59 though.
Now, I'm saying, if this is 59, you got 59 cents here, and you're gonna take the extra half cent and dump it into contingency, well, then you're collecting that half cent,
The town is.
the town, so now that becomes 47.5.
I see what he's saying. He's not wrong.
I don't
This doesn't make sense. He's not wrong, but he's not right either.
I don't know.
Because our tax rate is 47, but
But you can call it what you wanna call it,
Text
but
Mike
it's still
Rose and
47.
said, make it 12 cents. So you don't have to mess with this.
Now, I think the easiest thing to do is match it and leave our rate at 47. That's my opinion.
Well, like I
I got no
said,
problem with that.
yeah,
So
Which would mean
the,
do nothing.
But that's what you said.
yeah.
Then you're saying take the extra and put it to contingency.
If we keep it
He's
the same.
saying that the contingency is going to change
Yeah.
based on the fire department.
Yeah.
It's not you're moving money.
No, we're not moving.
Okay, so it's just gonna reduce.
Right, you're not, there's not,
That's what I see. If
you don't
look-
have funds that you're messing with.
Yeah, if you
It's-
look, right now, at 47 and 12, we've got $108,084 in contingency.
Right.
If it goes to 11 and a half, you're gonna lose about $9,000 of that and put it at about $100,000 because of the fire.
No, you can't, because the fire tax is going to the fire department. It's not going in our pocket at all.
We're not gonna lose anything.
You shouldn't adjust,
We're still
it
at
shouldn't
47.
affect our contingency at all.
so,
Y'all confused me.
So we do nothing.
Yeah, I got
No, I don't think
I
I'm
think it's-
confused. The fire tax should not affect our contingency any at all.
well, if you want to use the figure of fit that we're gonna, go forward on the 59%, yeah, that you're gonna lose.
Either way-
That is correct.
If it goes up, yes, we lose, but
I think the best thing to do is put it at 11, if it
Well, he
becomes
said-
11.5.
I said 11 and a half.
If it becomes 11 or 11, just go to whatever it is, but we just reduce the fire tax
Which
line.
would knock them down about $9,000.
And what we take in goes out, so it's a
And
wash,
whatever they were supposed to get in the budget, which was
210 something.
yeah, so it's knocking out about 201.
Right.
Yeah.
But nothing comes over here to contingency, and we leave ours at 47. So 47,
Yes.
whatever theirs is,
58 and a half.
that's right. Our
Okay.
total would be 58. Sorry, but I'm just trying to make sure it's clear and we know what we're doing. You got something you want to say?
No, I
You're good.
I follow.
I got you now.
All right, Commissioner Robinson, did you have to?
So basically,
Don't you do it.
So,
all we're trying to clarify, solidify, is that if it changes, you have the authority from the
to
board
just,
to make the
to drop
adjustment.
it from 12 to 11 and a half.
Okay, I wanted to make sure, because I had gotten
Or
so
11.
confused.
And the thing that I wonder is, do we satisfy the statute, because the board sets the tax, not the town administrator?
Well, we're not changing the town tax rate, we're changing the fire tax to
Well-
agree to our contract with the fire
Right.
department. So whatever, like I said, whatever they set it at, we have to pay that for our contract agreement. You're just stating that you're approving the 47 cent, and then you're allowing me to change the fire tax based off of what the county approves, based off of what our contract agreement is with Johnson County,
If it changes.
if it changes.
If it
Because
doesn't, we're fine.
going back to what we said in just a few minutes ago, that if the county, went up tremendously, even though we said that we'll go up to whatever they said, if they went real high, because we wouldn't do it. And so the question that I have is whether or not we should allow the administrator to do it or not.
I think you could allow it just with some stipulations of how much it could go up.
And I think we're doing a lot of speculation when we're starting to talk about it exceeding some absurd amount that we can't foresee. I think we are confident that it's gonna be within 11 to 12.
But here's the
Sense.
thing, if the budget don't get approved tonight, we're gonna come back just to approve whatever the county approves, which is what we have to do. And that's why I'm saying, tonight, if the board says, okay, just adjust the fire tax to what the county does, then we'll do that and it's approved.
Yeah, if you want to put.
Because if not, that's why I said, I've even got it in my notes, if we were doing a motion to adopt everything with the stipulation to allow TA King to adjust the fire tax rate to match the Johnston County fire tax rate.
And you could do that with a maximum.
Well,
if you-
not to exceed, say, 14 cents.
Yeah.
And the thing about the contract is, that can be amended and looked at any time. I mean, if the town wanted to do it,
And the thing is, it does state in our contract, we have to.
we have to match it. That's why I said, if they come
So
tonight
if
and
in
they come
litigation,
in hall and
that's
they say
exactly where
it's
we'll be,
25
we'll
cents,
probably lose.
we have to pay for our agreement, and we have to redo that contract.
I think that's going to change as next year comes into play, so. All right, that was a good discussion.
Okay, any other questions on that? And like I said, if the board is good with it, the clerk and I had talked, and we would like for a motion for all three to get approved, if that's okay. And I typed it out, if anybody wanted to make a motion, so they know what it was stating, just for kind of clarification, if anybody needed to see that. But we're asking for a budget to be adopted, the fee schedule, and then the new pay classification scale. And then, like I said, the large spreadsheet does have just a few numbers that didn't carry over, but it doesn't affect the budget or anything. The main classification is the one that shows all the accurate figures and everything.
I've got one question, and that's on the utilities, water, town Princeton fee schedule. You and I have discussed this before, but I noticed there's no fee on here for the backflow device testing, and I guess it's for commercial accounts. And I know there is a bill sent out yearly for that testing.
And isn't it like $250?
No, that's more than that. It's it costs us about $5,500 a year.
I think I can't remember what the fee is, $150.
Oh, you're talking about per?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it is per, but the total is about $5,500 a year.
Well, I know last year we built up exactly what the fee was, and we didn't cover our administrative costs or any processing, and I think we ought to have a fee
So
for
we
that.
could, we could put that in there for the backflow. Like I said, currently, I think the total that we're paying Mr. Brazel is about $5,500 a year, give or take. So we could do
whatever his charge is times 15%, 10%, or whatever. I would say 15%.
I would agree with that.
What is the administrative? fees that you-
Stamps, some time to put them in an envelopes, all of that time to send out. Then you gotta receive them. You've got time, somebody's got time inputting them into the system. And ever how many there is, there's what,
The
$5,500?
administrator, that's when we do new services. Now we're charging 40, we went up $10 on the administration.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what that is.
I just know last year,
I mean, I didn't know
Yeah. So I
if
would
you're
say,
talking hour or you talking me, you know.
no,
what you're-
because we hired that out.
Right.
And if the bill comes in, and I noticed last year the check I signed was the same amount as the
Right.
bills that were received. So therefore, the town has no money set aside for the expenses it incurs and the time it incurs to do it.
Right, I understand.
so on the backflow, you want it to be rate times 15%?
That's what I would,
Okay.
and that way if it increases.
Okay. I've got it down, so if the fee schedule's approved, that's what we'll have it at.
Okay. It is the board, how does the board feel about that?
And I do have a question. How many devices are there? Because everyone that is a business has backflow, correct?
That's probably a Brian question.
All of them, all the businesses
All
have.
commercial have them, so, yeah, I'm not sure how many commercial businesses we have in town,
I have to count.
25.
Well, it was
Something like that.
$5,000 or $5,500 last year, the
Yeah.
total number, and if it's $250
Yeah.
a piece, it's,
It's
55.
yeah.
Yeah, that's 22 businesses, so it's probably around 250.
Yeah, I know our particular business has 3, so.
Yeah, so what we'll do is I'll give Mr. Price, we'll get his upcoming rate, and then we can just add it on here, whatever his rate is times 15% is what we can charge the customer.
Well, I would keep it so if it changes, that way we're good.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sound good?
You said that, the motion thing was, what did you say it was?
But this is just a, if you had questions or somebody can get confused, but like I said, and you don't have to do that, but April and I talked about it, and for the budgeting purposes, if A, B, and C were in a motion together to adopt a fiscal year budget, fiscal year 25-26 budget, with those two changes on the PD, as mentioned, June 2nd, the fee schedule, which shows now the backflow rate times 15%, and then the salary reclassification.
Okay. Well, in that case, we got no other question. I'm gonna read it verbatim. We make a motion to adopt the fiscal year 25-26 annual budget with stipulation to allow TA King to adjust the fire tax rate to match the Johnston County fire tax rate for fiscal year 25-26 fee schedule and new pay reclassification scale.
All right, I have a motion.
Second.
Can I have a second? All in favor, raise your right hand.
Who was the second?
Who's second?
Hold it, switch on. Motion passes 4-0.
All right, thank you, and I'll keep you updated on the fire tax and send out an email tomorrow with that accurate update on that.
Maybe we'll know for when they get out here.
Yeah, they still got speakers, I just checked, Chad.
Okay.
All right.
All right, next on the agenda is the Pinecroft final plat. This is for phase 2. I do have a interest in this, so I'm going to ask to recuse myself, but if the board does have any questions, I would like to be able to answer those questions, if the board is okay with that.
But I'd like to present it if that's okay.
I'm fine with that.
We have to have a motion to turn it over to the,
I have one thing, I'm sorry. Did we ever close the public hearing?
We did not, we need to close that.
oh, yeah.
All right, so I'm going to say that let's close the public hearing for the budget, and it is closed at 7:36.
All right.
Sorry about that.
That's right.
No.
Thank you.
All right, and then back to this.
We make a motion that at this time we change hands from our mayor to our Mayor Pro Tem to discuss Pine Cross subdivision phase 2. Simply on the grounds that you have a interest in.
Second.
Right, you gotta finish it up.
I guess I'd like to finish it.
Do what?
I need to go ahead and take the vote in.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
I have a first, do I have I got a second? All in favor, raise your right hand. And motion passes 4-0.
All right. We good? Will we read this?
Yeah, I mean, you can read it or I can read it. so.
I'll go through it real quick. Pinecraft subdivision phase 2, as you'll remember, the preliminary plat was presented and that was approved by the board in March of 2022. In your packet here, you see phase 2, and I'm going to give you the updated version that we just received this past week. This is just a clean version of the larger map that shows the meets and bounds and lot lines, etc. But again, this was approved in 2022, and phase 1 preliminary was presented in March of this year, and the board approved that. Phase 1 will be recorded sometime by the end of this month, and Pinecroft should begin developing within the next, I would say, 3 to 6 months, hopefully. Phase 2 includes lots 19 through 45. Minimum lot size is the same as phase 1, 7,150 square feet to a max of 9,967 square feet. Same zoning, which would be R3 PUD zoning. Setbacks on the front are 10, left and right side, there is a 0 lot line, and the rear is 5-foot setback. And again, phase 1 was approved March 3rd of this year, and now we're asking for phase 2 to be approved so they can get that recorded within the next 18 to 24 months, whenever they're ready to build that out.
So what is the size of a regular size lot?
These are regular size, where our zoning minimum is 10,000 square feet.
Yeah,
But this was approved as a PUD back in 2018, 19, 20 maybe, I can't remember it, I won't hear. But it's been 5 or 6 years. But it was approved as a PUD, which is land use development, which is smaller lots. But you'll see the minimum is 71, and then the max is 99. As far as the size of the houses and things like that, the mayor would have to answer those questions. But again, this first phase was approved earlier this year, and they're ready to record that one. And then once they get going on that and the lot starts, or the home starts selling, they're going to be eager to get phase 2 recorded. Be 47 total lots.
So, Mr. Mayor, can you give us a expectation or layout of what size houses are going in?
They're pretty much, both phase 1 and phase 2 will be 1,000 square feet and up, is the plan. Restrictions have not been filed in the town.
1,000 square foot house?
Yeah,
Okay.
and up.
Oh, and up. Okay, I didn't hear that part.
Yeah. And up. And it just depends on the economy and what it'll support. It can be 3,500, 4,000 square feet, or it could be a 1,000 square foot house. So the plans that we have drawn right now are 1,100 to, I think we've got an 1,800 square foot house. And some are 2-story and some are single story.
Okay. All right.
I make a motion to approve the final plat, Pine
Got a first? Got a motion, got a second?
Wow.
I said,
We got a motion, we got a second. All those in favor? Motion passes. I'll make a motion, we return it back to
There was something going on down there, I don't quite know what it is.
oh, no, I was just looking over it, you know, make sure I don't see it.
I guess I don't need to make first motions to get me bored. I don't want to second them.
So you handed it over, did we have to make?
All right. So,
We need to make a motion to hand it
all
back
right, so
over.
I make a motion that we, revert back from the, mayor pro tem back to the mayor's hands, to continue the rest of the meeting.
Second. Got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
All right, thank you, board. We're gonna move on to agenda item number 8, which is the subdivision ordinance amendment 405.9, subdivision entrances.
As we mentioned at the last meeting, the new subdivision by the elementary school has been proposed. Currently, our subdivision ordinance requires 2 entrances, and through extensive conversation with NCDOT, the developer, and the town, we've looked at some safety measures, et cetera, and NCDOT, the town, and the planning board all recommend that we allow for just 1, and have asked us to amend this portion of the ordinance. So you can see there's the current ordinance, and then the proposed with the change in the highlighted yellow. The change would be subdivisions with less than 99 lots would provide at least 1 main entrance with one main entrance point with a second gravel entrance with a knock box. And subdivisions with 100 lots or more would provide at least 2 main entrance points. That's the 2 changes from the current subdivision ordinance. And again, this is recommended by NCDOT, the planning board, and staff.
Did the planning board, or did they say about the second gravel entrance in the Knox box?
They had mentioned it that they would recommend that for emergency reasons.
What if it's fewer than 99 lots? What if it's 10 lots? We need to have two and a...
Well, if it's 10 lots, it's, you guys gonna how many entrances?
Well, yeah, it says it's subdivisions with fewer than 99 lots shall provide at least 1 main entrance point and a second gravel entrance with a Knox box. So that's just leaving that open, fewer than 99.
So we can,
Well, do we need to have the second gravel entrance in the Knox box?
I
Is
mean,
that-
if you wanna say anything 50 lots to 99 lots, know what you're asking,
No, I'm
something
just
like
saying,
that.
can we just leave it as 1 main entrance point, period? Like, do we need to have the second gravel entrance with a Knox box?
But then that's gonna put us having to come back, then.
For safety reasons, it's recommended for, especially if you have a large subdivision. But I mean, if it's less, like Pinecroft doesn't have one, they just got 47 lots, 1 entrance, 1 in and out.
Right.
But if you're wanting to take the knock box out and say, subdivisions with 30 lots or less, we don't require it, but if you got 31 or more, we would want that second safety entrance per se.
I think it's important because what becomes a major subdivision? At what point, 3 lots?
5.
So you're saying 5 lots has to have 2 entrances?
Yeah, that's a major.
And see, that becomes a major, and that doesn't make sense.
The county, and we're mimicking basically what Johnston County allows. We're following what they allow. As
Is
far
that
as
what they say in theirs?
they don't require a knock box, they just have the number of entrances.
Yeah, but theirs goes up at 100. Or
It goes up 150, I think it goes up.
At 150, it goes to 2
It
entrances.
goes 2 entrances, if I remember right.
So if it's fewer than 150, then it's a main entrance and a second gravel entrance?
They don't require the gravel entrance.
So, to my point,
No, I think,
just be
now,
one
not cut you
entrance.
off, but I think the guy that explained it to us in the last meeting said that if it was 100 entrances, that it is required by the state gravel entrance with the knock box.
If it's 100,
Yeah.
but sure, I mean, at that point, 100 lots or more shall provide at least 2 main entrances
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm saying fewer than 99 or fewer. That seems like a lot. And maybe we make a threshold of, 60 to 99 or something like that. But you could have a subdivision with 6 lots and you need to have 2, a main entrance, a secondary gravel entrance, and a Knox box. It just seems like a lot.
It wouldn't be a secondary, it would be the main entrance and then the gravel with the knock box for safety precautions.
For how many?
For how many?
I mean, even if we left it as is, if you had 10 houses or 10 lots that were sold, I mean, kind of like insurance, you'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
But see, that doesn't always configure right either, though, because that's just like my neighborhood. There's 20-some houses in it, but there would be no need to have a secondary entrance in there, not even a gravel entrance with a Knox box on it, because the access is a circle, so you go all the way around it. So it's gonna be real hard to define that just by number of houses. It's gonna depend a lot on the layout.
Again, this is based off conversation with the county, NCDOT, and stuff like that. But if you wanted to change it, I probably would say anything that hit 50 lots or more, you would want some type of second entrance. And it could be based off location, based off a town street versus a highway or a NCDOT, state maintained road, lot sizes, etc.
But the county requires 100 and no second entrance.
That's what they told us.
I think, wasn't it 150?
What's in there now, in the counties now?
Right.
County is 150. Anything over 100, they require two entrances, over 100.
I think if it's over 100, it's probably a main entrance and then like an emergency access or a gravel path, some other secondary unofficial type of access point. But then if it's over 150, then you probably need a two access
And
points.
the reason that they only are requesting the one or recommending the one is because of the site triangle coming out of the curve there. The entrance exit to Lakeview, the distance of where it's going to be to the elementary school and stuff like that. That's why they're only recommending one.
And that's
Push
just
it
my,
right into the curve.
that's just
It's
my
gonna be
belief. I mean,
the entrance is going to be up for
The
them.
main entrance is, but if you put in a secondary entrance, it would be in the curve.
I think it's going to be just right between the line of the main entrance and the elementary school.
But he's saying
It'll be a path.
if you added another one, they've
If you
got to be
added
so
to-
many for
Right.
it.
That's what I'm saying. If you added to it, it would be in the curve. That's what they said.
About the gravel. Yeah.
so we're,
Yeah, if you added it, it would be in the curve.
I think the way it's written, it's going to bring more developers back to you for approval in changing this, because I know when we look at it, we're looking for more than 50 lots. You start talking about second entrance, that's expensive, because then you're talking about more signs, bushes, you're talking about the whole deal, and you can spend some money.
When they're losing money too, because they're losing 1-2 lots.
Yeah.
Is there anywhere it's based on road frontage?
Nothing states that.
Because, especially this subdivision that's formed out of school, they don't have a lot. I mean, they don't have enough road frontage for 2 entrances unless they're right side by side.
Yeah, that's what we're.
It actually becomes a hazard.
Right.
And so, they had a good reason to come in and ask based on the way it was written, and that's what we're trying to do here is change it to where I think it's more like counties, so that it's feasible, I guess is what I'm saying. Not against safety at all, and this board can require whatever it feels deemed, but it's not a one shoe fits all. But that kind of 100 break gives you can usually work it out.
And you can always take it out and just say that subdivision entrances are based off of location, town road, state road, number of lots, and then put that stipulation in whenever they bring it. And it's I don't put the subdivision in on West First Street, it's 35 lots. And you say, well, 35 lots, we're not going to require one. Or you can say we require 2.
my opinion of this is just from what I've seen, my job, and knowing that Wayne County's as well is fewer than 100, you only need one. And I guess Johnson County's is the same. So I can see it. Sure, if you're at 98 and you want to talk about it, okay, but I just think personally, just to say subdivisions with fewer than 99 lots shall provide at least one main entrance point.
Well, and the thing too is whatever's in this ordinance, if a developer don't like it, they can always ask for an amendment of the ordinance, or they can appeal it to the Board of Adjustment, and the Board of Adjustment can override it and say, we're gonna give you a variance, and you only can have one subdivision entrance instead of the required two, and we can't do a thing about it, because they would have the final say-so on that. So they would have that option.
I think it needs something general. I mean, it gives, when these engineers go to lay these things out, they're looking there and, you know, you hit this bumper, okay, I got 120 lots, I've got 2 entrances. So they know they've got to put 2 entrances in, and they start to plan like that. Otherwise, you can totally hose it when they bring it to you. Then you're having to flop everything around, because they're gonna be calling you asking, hey, can we do 1 entrance instead of 2? And you're gonna say, well, I don't know, you gotta bring it to the board. And so that,
Or if they can get to the Board of Adjustment, ask for a variance on it.
yeah,
If they want.
I just think it's good to give them, and I think the county's policy is pretty decent. And
I think
it's not a
County-
one-shoe-fits-all deal, because there are times when the second entrance definitely is required. And it could be done with gravel and a Knox box, that's fine, because you could spill traffic out this way if you needed to in an emergency. I'm not a fireman, so I don't know what kind of situations run into, but I can see how people could get hemmed up in a neighborhood and couldn't get out. But most people can change their schedule there for a few minutes to work it, and if there is a true emergency.
Most of the time, it's not actually it's not the homeowners that's the issue most of the time.
Fire trucks.
It's the amount of fire trucks trying to get around.
And I guess that's what I'm looking at, that, you know, God forbid, you have a fire, you have homes in there, whether it's 5 or 60 or whatever, you have a fire in there, and that one entrance is blocked. The fire is right there in the beginning, and the fire trucks are blocking the entrance in and out. You know, and like I said, God forbid, the fire it jumps from here to here to here. I mean, you being a fireman, you know it can jump. And it jumps, and there's no way to get people out. That, I guess that's just what I'm.
Most entrances though, most time you pull in the entrance of a subdivision, there's only a limited amount of houses on the first initial part of it. Most of the time, it's just like where we live. It goes in, you've got 6 houses, and then it splits. So, you know,
And I
can
will
it happen?
remind,
Yes, but in a case like that, we're gonna shut it down anyway. You're not gonna get in and out. I don't care how many entrances you got. We're gonna shut the whole thing down, because we're gonna take everything we can.
and, you know, I will remind the board that, you know, we're growing, and subdivision ordinance is new, so there's gonna be some hiccups that we're gonna have to adjust as we grow. It's only 3 years old now, so as we get more development, there's gonna be things we're gonna find that we're gonna need to change as we grow, so.
Well, we made several references to the county ordinance. Do we actually have a copy of the county ordinance?
We don't have one, we can get it, it's probably on our website. But we've had a lot of conversation with
That might make things a lot simpler.
So you want to copy the counties is what you're wanting to do, or do you just want to look at it?
Well, look and perhaps copy.
I think it reads subdivisions with fewer than 100 lots shall provide at least one main entrance.
Because I was thinking their number was more than 100.
And it might be 150. But as a developer, putting on my developer hat, I mean, I could understand two entrances at 100. I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. Even if it's just a gravel driveway, and then I can come ask for that if I need to.
And another thing with the county is, majority of their subdivisions are going on roads that are 45, 55 mile an hour with turn lanes or whatever. Ours are gonna be more or less in the 35, 45 mile per hour, or even less than that. You know, so that's something to consider as well, because I think,
So,
now yours is what, 25 miles an hour?
I think it's 45.
On Edwards? I mean, I think
We're 20, we're 20, but
what's Pierce Street, chief speed limit, anyway? About your time crop, is it 25, 35?
that's Massey Hole.
20 in town right here, 20. That sound right?
Come up,
I think everything
Oh,
would
you're
be
talking
20,
about
except for
Pinecone. Yeah, it would be
Pine.
20.
It's 20,
Third
coming out as 20, so.
Everything else is 20.
Yeah, but I know the county, like I said, the majority of the major subdivision counties are probably in the 45, 55 mile per hour speed limit areas.
So with that being said, you've actually got more time to get out and if it's slower moving, so
Locally,
you can actually accommodate more
Yeah.
density.
yeah.
Relying on AI here, using ChatGPT to expedite my search. For Johnson County, for subdivisions with 100 to 200 lots, the developer has the option to provide a second full-service access built to county standards or a dedicated emergency vehicle access constructed with an all-weather surface. For subdivisions with 201 or more lots, a second full-service access built to county standards is required. Assuming that is correct.
That Johnson County, Florida.
No, I checked. I went a little further, clicked the link, made sure it was Johnson County, North Carolina. I checked. I checked. Anyway, that's not a hill,
But again,
I'm
like I
fine.
said, this is something that can be, we can amend anytime as we grow. It's just part of the growth process.
Fire personnel, please state your opinion.
Well, we did talk with the chief, Stanley, and he was fine with everything. He had no concerns.
Like I said, I don't see it being an issue. It's not, I mean, most of the time, if we're gonna shut down whatever we go into anyway, so it's not gonna matter.
I think the main concern would be is if you got a subdivision with 100 houses and you got 90 of them street side parking and they're dodging it, that truck's probably gonna push the cars out the way to get where they need to be.
There's been a lot of speculations tonight.
I don't know, I'm just saying that.
A lot of fires at the entrances.
Well, I think we should be taking that, and when we take a subdivision to approve it, and we say, hey, we would like a second entrance on this one, because it's so tight, or if we're going to approve it. But I think if you do it this way, you're going to have everyone coming before you ask it
Yeah,
for.
and then,
for
and also
variance.
the piggyback off that is, subdivision ordinance requires X number of parking spots for cars to get them off the streets. So
Well,
that's
now,
required.
we've got a ordinance that says that they can't park on the streets.
On certain streets, we do have an ordinance that says they can't park on certain streets, not every street, but certain streets. There's probably 20, 25 on that list, but I can send you a copy of it, but there are some streets that's not listed, and that's an old ordinance. But we can look it up, Dave, if we wanted to, but then,
There's probably some of the streets that are about this wide.
but then your chief's gonna be writing parking tickets all day.
And I guess too with me, with a lot of speculation and everything, me being in, when I worked in industrial work, I was a safety guy. So I try to look at everything from the safety aspect.
Which is, I appreciate. I wasn't saying that critically.
No, I'm just saying,
Okay, what we doing?
And again, this can be
Oh, look
changed.
into Commissioner Boyette, shall we? Walter Martin does not look at. My belief on this is that if you left it this way, fine. At some point, you're going to have someone come to you with 12 lots, questioning why they need to have this. And at some point, you're gonna have to have them get some kind of variance. They're gonna have to go through an extra step. Whereas if you left it a little bit more just general, as we would mimic our neighboring counties with their language, to have it be 99 lots or fewer, you just need one main entrance. In the event that the plans come before the planning board and they feel that it's 96 lots and it really would justify, okay, I don't know, they can do that, I guess.
Yeah, and if they come in and let's say, they go through the planning board, and the planning board recommends one entrance for 15 lot subdivision, and it comes to you guys, and that's the recommendation, you can take that recommendation and approve that without any other changes. You can recommend and approve the one entrance if you want to, without them going through a variance. Now, if you deny it, they can go and ask for a variance to trump you guys, so to speak, if they get approved. If that makes sense.
If they came before us with 15 lots and they only
They come
wanted
before
one
you
entrance.
and you say, we need 2 entrances, and they said, that's crazy, 2 entrances for 15 lots.
Mhm.
And you stick to it, and they say, all right, board said 15, they can go to the Board of Adjustment, and the Board of Adjustment can grant a variance and say, all right, we're gonna allow 1.
I think we need to put a number of lots in it, but it needs to be more than 12 or 15. It needs to be up closer to
I mean,
100.
I think, honestly, I think 50 is a fair number. I mean, you building in Wayne County and all, and I'm like I said, I don't know what.
It's 100 lots.
It's 100 there.
It's 100 lots.
But I mean, again,
Why?
you're looking here in town, slower speed limit, a little smaller lots.
Let's just go with 100 lots.
Why is 50 a reasonable number?
Well, I mean, we're a small town, slower speed limit, and we got smaller lots,
Well, now,
which means,
so, if we're building, out on, near the elementary school, and on one end is you're coming out of a 45 down to a 35.
I got a quick answer for you. I've already talked with DOT about that, and the chief and elementary school. Once we get that development going, there's a very good chance that's gonna drop to 35 mile per hour when you get to that intersection at Martin Livestock coming into town, and the school zone will reduce to 25. We've already had that conversation, so,
Another
not to cut you off,
Another
just to let you know we're looking
is the
for.
one up by Old Mass Hill,
Which one's that?
the one on the other side of the ballpark. It's far enough out. I'm not sure that's not 50.
Old Hint Road.
I went across from where Stacy lives.
Chestnut Ridge, right across from Chestnut Ridge, the new one.
From Chester.
Yeah, the 29
The thing
lots.
about that is, the thing that's different is, once you hit, Martin Livestock and you hit that development, you're in the town all the way through. When you come through Chestnut, you're hitting that gap, and only Chestnut is in the town, not the street.
But that subdivision's gonna be in the town. So now you got a subdivision that's 55 miles long.
That's true,
In a curve.
that's true, but that, it could be talked to the state about, but
I think the state would reduce the speed
but you're,
to 45.
coming through, you're hitting that like, I mean, you're hitting like 2 entrance points that's in the town, then you're going back right into the county, that, you know what I mean?
100 lots.
Yeah.
100 lots. Anything over 100 lots needs a secondary entrance, whether it's a
Yeah.
permanent full entrance or a gravel.
I agree. I agree with you.
So are you gonna make that in the form of a motion or something?
Well, yes, I'll make that a motion.
Hold on.
Change the ordinance to where it's 100 lots or more. You have to have a secondary entrance, whether it's a private, or whether it's a full entrance or a gravel, with a Knox box and gate.
So you're saying, just, like, say that again, so I'm writing it down. Subdivision with
100 lots or more
Huh?
will have 2 entrances.
Okay,
It can either be 2 main entrances, or it can be a main entrance and a gravel entrance with a gate and Knox box on
okay,
it.
I got you.
And it does need to be all weather.
Yeah, do one out.
All weather entrance. It does
Okay.
not need to be just a dirt entrance, a fire truck pulls up and then gets stuck.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
And then would you have I mean, I don't know that you need the other one. I mean, do you need to say that subdivisions with fewer than 100 lots shall provide at least one main entrance?
Yes.
Or just,
Well, I don't
just
think
leave that
it's
out?
like it needs.
I would
It's
say
got to
you
have
can
entrance.
relieve the first highlight,
move
remove
it.
the first highlight
Okay,
part,
gotcha.
leave the second.
Because it's got to have entrance. Because you're going to hover in.
That's right.
All right, I
Maybe
got
to
it.
get home,
His new car, but they might fly.
horse and buggy.
Remove the first one, leave the second
I
one, 2 main
appreciate
entrances or 1 main.
Examples. Are you listening to the county?
I'm listening, bro.
But they're just getting to the budget now.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Who made the motion?
Commissioner Holmes.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Martin. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes 4-0.
I'll clean it up and send it back out in an email, just to let everybody see where we're at, and we'll update it in the, subject ordinance as well.
All right, next on the,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, next on the agenda is a closed session. So,
Does everybody have their evaluation period?
I hope I do,
No, no, I don't. No, I don't.
but he don't either.
Then my recommendation is to postpone it till the next board meeting.
What did we do last time?
Or fill them out and give them to the
I
mayor.
think
you know,
I might have mine. I'd have to go look at my file box, but I think I have mine.
all right, so we're gonna
If,
postpone.
if we postpone, it, please ma'am, please sir.
Or you can just fill them out and get them to the mayor for review with mine.
I'll look when we're leaving. If I have mine, I'll hand it to you.
Well, even though I'm, not ready to go forward, that I think that our procedure as far as the evaluation goes should always remain the same. And the board normally does it as,
All right, so we would like to move this to the
July 7th.
July 7th meeting, and we will try to do a closed session at that time.
I'm gonna text you.
All right, with that being
then
said,
I'm gonna block you.
I'll find you.
Send it out the email.
with that being said, I do make a motion that we adjourn to our next said business meeting.
I say,
All right, now first and second, all in favor?
uh,
All right, motion passes 4-0. Motion to adjourn.
They got me twice, I guarantee I'm bringing third.